Hi there. In this section, you are going to learn about if-then statements. So let's begin. If-then statements. An if-then statement is written in the form if P then Q, where P is called hypothesis and Q is called the conclusion of the statement. In other words, we can say that if we write a statement and the conclusion both together using if and then that statement is called if and then statement. Now let's consider an example. So the example is if the measure of two angles are 90 degree, then it's a complementary angle. So the explanation for this example is the hypothesis is P such that the measure of two angles are 90 degree. So as you can see, this is the first part of the statement, or I should say this is the first part of if-then statement. Then the conclusion is Q such that the angles are complementary. So as you can see, the second part of the if-then statement is it's a complementary angle. So basically what we are doing in this example, we are combining statement P and Q together to get this example using if and then. Now let's consider another example. So my next example is if two lines are perpendicular, then they intersect. So let's write the hypothesis and the conclusion of this statement. So hypothesis is P such that two lines are perpendicular. So basically we are writing the first part of if and then statement, which is basically two lines are perpendicular, which is over here. And a conclusion is the lines are intersecting. So if the two lines are perpendicular, then they intersect. So the second part of the statement is conclusion, which says that the lines are intersecting, which is over here. Now let's consider how we can use if and then statements to write different form of the statements. So I'm going to create a table. So this is my first column, which is representing the statement. The second column is the symbols, and the third column will be the example. So my first statement is conditional statement. So as you can see, we have a hypothesis that gives us the conclusion. So the example is if an angle is acute, then its measure is less than 90 degree. So we all know that if the angle is acute, then the measure of the angle lie between 0 and 90 degree, which is basically less than 90 degree. Now, if we switch the conclusion with the hypothesis and hypothesis with the statement, we will write Q tends to P, which is basically our converse statement, and the statement will be if the measure of the angle is less than 90 degree, then the angle is acute. So what basically we are doing, we are using measure is less than 90 degree and writing that one first, which is over here with if, and then we are using angles are acute using the then of the if then statement. And if we write the statement in this form, then that is known as converse of the statement. Now let's consider the next type of statement, which is basically inverse statement. So basically what we are doing, we are using the negative with the hypothesis as well as the conclusion with using the conditional statement. So as you can see, a conditional statement is if an angle is acute, then its measure is less than 90 degree. So what we are going to do, we are going to use not with the hypothesis as well as conclusion. And if we do that, we will write if an angle is not acute, then its measure is not less than 90 degree. And if we write the statement in this form, then that form of statement is known as inverse statement. The next type of statement is known as contrapositive. And what we are doing, we are using the converse statement to write the contrapositive. So if you remember, when you write the converse of a statement, conclusion is hypothesis and hypothesis is conclusion. And when we want to write the contrapositive, we will use the converse statement and then we will use not or negation with converse of the statement. And if we do that, we will use this example and we will write if the measure of the angle is not less than 90 degree, then the angle is not acute. So basically, we are using this example right here to write the example for the contrapositive. So as you can see, all these statements are actually related to the conditional statement. So if we have a conditional statement, we can write all other statements such as converse, inverse, and contrapositive statements.